how to make the best hamburgers you've ever made. And I promise you, I made hamburgers here for years, and I did all of the stuff that most people do, and I found with a lot of research and reasons to do a different way that works way better. It makes the hamburger a lot better, and it's a lot easier. We're going to use the Ninja Foodi Indoor Pro Grill, but you can cook it on, once you get the hamburger made, you can cook it on anything. A charcoal grill, an oven, skillet, flat top, it doesn't matter. Once the hamburger patty is made, you'll see what I mean. When you cook it the way you normally cook it, it'll be a lot better. And I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to show you why. I'm also going to show you the best cheese, if you ask me, there's ever been for a cheeseburger, and I'm going to explain a little bit about that. I'm John Sanders. Welcome to In the Kitchen with Jelly 007. Let's make the best hamburger you've ever made. Okay, so I know some of my subscribers recently saw me do this on another video, but I thought it was so important, I wanted to do one just for the hamburger patty, the making of the hamburger patty. And I promise you, we're going to cook it in this new Ninja that y'all haven't seen me do that in. We're going to cook hamburger patties in the Ninja Pro, and we're going to use the probe that it comes with, and we're going to see how well that grate does on hamburgers. So back to the hamburger patty. This, to me, is the excellent way to buy your hamburger meat, just like this. The place I buy it from, which is Ingles, it's a local grocery store in the South. I don't know if they're everywhere, but they will sell me this chub, and it comes in a 10-pound package normally. They will cut it in half for me. They will probably cut it in whatever I wanted, but I ask them to cut it in half. Some places won't. But my point is, this hamburger meat is ready to cook. It doesn't need to be worked anymore. All you do when you work that ground meat that's already ground up is you start making it mushy. Well, when you take it like this right here and you cut it into, say, 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch patties, or whatever thickness you want. My point is, when you're eating it, it still has that grind or that grain to it, and you can tell it. Take my word. And I think a lot of restaurants, now some restaurants may grind their own. They may grind a chuck and maybe a brisket or whatever, but if you're not wanting to grind your own to where it's not overworked, buy it like this in the chub and then cut it into whatever thickness hamburgers you want. And you'll see that grain, and you'll be able to tell it when you're eating it. I promise you. Again, cook one the way you normally do when you do all that, and cook one like this and see what you think. Now, I don't mix in anything with the hamburgers. I think that makes it like meatloaf. I'm not going to lie. Even salt and pepper, I don't work anything in. I do sprinkle it with salt. I don't put pepper on it before I cook it. But once I've got the patties cut like I want, I'll sprinkle them with salt. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there just to show you that's what I do. I cut it off just like that. You unwrap these and you have a perfect hamburger. And the fact, not only that, if you don't want them to look like a manufactured hamburger like that does, although that's perfect, you just kind of squeeze down the edges like this. And then they start looking more like a hand squoze hamburger, as I call them. And then all I'm going to do is sprinkle that with salt. So I'm not going to stay on any long. I'm going to leave this just like this because I may use it for spaghetti. I may cut it up for hamburgers again tomorrow night. But now to the cheese. Now this, I used this on the last video I did. It's called black rind hoop cheese. They also make a red rind, and I'm fixing to show you that because people commented, and I had people that didn't know, had never seen it actually. And as a kid, this used to be in the store on a big block, on a big wheel where they cut off and sold it with crackers. I mean, it was a big deal. And but what I'm going to show you is they couldn't find it. And I'm fixing to drop a video in here of where I was in the store, and I'm going to show you why it's harder to find. And I don't know why they do this, but I'm fixing to show you where it's kept in the store, in the stores that carry it. Not all do, but take my word, the best cheese you'll ever put on a lot of things, but especially hamburgers. Be right back, or hang on for the video. Okay, so on my last video that I had hoop cheese, I had a couple people ask me about it, that they had never heard of it or wasn't aware of it, and they couldn't find it. Well, here's why you can't find it. It's not with the other cheeses. As you can see, it's over here in the meat section. And this is what I use, which is a black rind, but it also comes in a milder red rind. But anyhow, it's great on a lot of things. Anyhow, now you know. Okay, so there are the 2 patties we're going to cook, and you can see the grain in there already. Now, I'm going to say this, is that I said this on the last video I did hamburgers on. The USDA says 160 internal temp. Well now, and I recommend that. If you want to be totally safe, you have to take this to 160 degrees. Now, I'm probably not, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't. I'm just saying I'm going to shoot for 145, and carryover will probably get me to 155 or so. But just for a disclaimer, I just want to say it, the USDA and a lot of people say ground beef has to go to 160. So to make that understood why I'm only going to 145, I wanted to say all that. All right. Now, you notice right here, if I went all the way to and seated this to the bottom, I'd be way past the center of this burger. And I'm not going to. I'm going to take it to the center. So I need to be about right here. So that's what we're about to do. I'm going to insert my probe to about right there, and that should be dead center of that burger. Now, the next thing we're going to do, and this Pro Grill does this excellent. I've already cooked steaks in it. I've cooked a couple of things in it. It works fantastic. We're going to cook them at 500. So there's a setting for 500. Now we're going to put the temp, like I said, at 145. Now I think that'll get me pretty close to 160. And honestly, it's a little higher than I think I normally eat steaks. But, I'm sorry, hamburgers. So we're going to 145 internal. It will automatically turn off this grill when it gets to 145. So on high at 500, I'm going to press start, and it'll start preheating, and we're going to do that right now. And now I'm going to get the cheese ready and stuff like that. And by the way, while I'm on it, this is something I think is really important, is a real good pickle. If you're going to serve pickles just on your hamburger and you want the best hamburger you ever ate, you got to put some decent ingredients, especially when you're going with this cheese. I'm telling you, you're going to love this cheese. So when that gets preheated, I'll be back. By the way, I've already sprayed that grate with avocado oil. It probably didn't need it. I probably could have got by without it, but I just lightly sprayed it. No big deal. But be right back in just a second. Okay, so the Ninja Foodi Grill Pro has preheated. It wants me to add the food. So we're going to do that right quick. Raise the lid. And I bet it's going to sizzle. Let's see. I think you can hear that. There goes the other one. Just going to lay that, see how that works. Yep, that works fine. You can see right here, we are 57 degrees inside that burger. And when that gets to 145, it'll turn off. Now, when it gets up a little bit, I'm gonna be, you can sneak a peek. So I'm gonna be raising this lid and looking, and I'll flip them at some point. We'll just kind of decide. I've already got the cheese cut up. All I gotta do is get that ready to drop on one piece at a time. And I cut it about a 1/4 inch thick and broke it up, but you'll see what I mean in just a second. I got some lettuce I got to get out too, so I'll be right back. Okay, so internal temp is 120, and I'm getting a little smoke, but nothing terrible. I'm going to go ahead and flip them because I just want to see how they do. Flip. And there is that one, and you can hear them more. They are sizzling, and the grill marks look excellent. And that is 123 right now, so we're almost there. And be right back. Okay, there it went, 145. And now all we have to do is it cut itself off. I don't know if you can hear it because it's kind of quiet. It's not that noisy. So we're going to get them off and put them on these buns right quick. And see what we end up with. They look excellent. And they are sizzling. Let's see if I got both right buns. So we're just going to set them on here for now because that's what I do. I don't put the cheese on them in there. I never do with this type cheese. Now, this is room temperature cheese. So I'm just going to lay it on there kind of like that. No crisis, no big deal. There's not a bad way of doing it. And even if it doesn't melt all the way, although it almost always does, And now maybe I should have set it on there a little early. I just didn't want to risk making a mess in my cooker. So we're going to let those sit there just a second, let that cheese melt, let them rest, see what this temp goes to. I got everything from mayonnaise, lettuce, and ketchup and pickles we're going to put on there in a minute. Be right back. Okay, so right at about 5 minutes since I pulled these out, that is at 162, so we had no problem at 145 for it reaching 162. Now you'll see the cheese, it started to melt. Now maybe I should have put it on while it was still, this is the first time I've done hamburgers on it, quite honestly. But it's plenty soft. There's nothing wrong with that cheese. That cheese will be the best cheese. You'll be using it on a lot of stuff. I'll put it like that. So, well, in fact, the temp's dropping. It's 161. So it topped out at 162. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. And I'm going to chop up this lettuce right here. And all I did was cut a little bit of the head of the lettuce off, and I'm just going to do this. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and cut it one open now where you can see it a little better. And we're just going to cut it right down the middle. And I see the juices running. And that is perfect. And that's what I say, 162. Let me get this light where you can see it a little better. But this is what I mean by the grain and the different texture that you'll notice while you're chewing it. I promise you, no matter how you cook it, that is the way to do a hamburger. And I promise you, if you try it, you will see what I mean. So all this needs is this lettuce and some other things on it right quick. Now the thing did get smoky. I'm not going to lie, it got a little smoky. So the 80-20 may be a little much for the Ninja. It got smokier than I was expecting, but I mean, it wasn't a tragic. I didn't set off smoke alarms or nothing, but it was a little smoky. So maybe you could either do it outside, or if you do it inside, just expect a little smoke. I don't want to mislead you. So I'm going to get those hamburgers ready to eat, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I assembled the other hamburger, and when I cut it in half, I noticed a little something different, which is not a big deal, but I wanted to show you. You remember how the other one looked, and it had a little slight red pink in the middle. Well, you can see it's a little thicker. It's a little thicker than this one, and that slight bit of thickness made this one completely done. Now this one went to 162. I pulled it at 145, or the unit cut off at 145. It went on its own to 162. So this one must have been, 165. Just thought I'd point that out. There's nothing wrong. I've already ate the other half of that one, and take my word. Again, when you do them this way, you can tell the grain, when you're chewing it, you'll know it's not an overworked hamburger. It kind of breaks up different. Anyhow, thanks very much for watching my video, and I hope you find this method works better, and I really think it will. You should try it just one time if you don't mind, and let me know. Anyhow, again, thanks for watching. I'm John Sanders. Y'all come back to see me. Like, share, subscribe if you don't mind. I'll put my big old head will be floating as always right here for you to touch and subscribe. Another video for you to watch right here I'll put up. Y'all have a good night, and I love y'all all. Bye-bye.